Perfect. Recording in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Blessed with Hope podcast, and we are back with another episode. I apologize for being gone for literally 4 weeks, but during those 4 weeks, it was time I needed away from the podcast just because finals was wrapping up, which went really well. And then I was moving a week later, because then during that week before I moved, I went back home to hang out with my family for a bit. And then it was just a lot of traveling back and forth between here and home and settling into my new place. But now we are back in business. I am ready for these next episodes that God has in store. And yeah, so now that we're back, let's get into this episode. Happy as a kid. When I say happy as a kid, I literally mean it. We are all children of God. We are God's kids, His creation. He has called us to beg for Him. Not sure if beg is the right word, but He wants us in awe of Him and to always know that He isn't going to abandon us. Everyone has grown up differently as a kid, and for me specifically, after going through therapy and deliverance, I've come to the fact that as a kid, I was abandoned and forgotten pretty often. People didn't see it that way, but as a kid, you want to feel loved, you want to not be forgotten, and you want to feel cared for. Unfortunately, that was not my case. I'm not saying all this to say I had a bad childhood, but I'm stating the facts of what I saw as a kid growing up. Now, at that time as a kid, I didn't see it as abandonment. I saw it as normal. I thought it was normal to be left home alone at a young age. I thought it was normal to not spend time with your parents. I thought it was normal to not open up. I thought it was normal to feel alone. I thought it was normal to feel abandoned. The only reason why I thought it was normal, because typically in an Asian household, it's always work, work, work. You work and not take a break. You work to provide a roof over your head. You work to provide food. You work until you burn out. Obviously now, I know that that is not normal. Work was an excuse as to why I was abandoned. I thought it was normal because I knew that at that time in my life, we needed money. And the only way for that to happen was when my mom and dad consistently worked. I want to emphasize again that working until you burn out is not normal. There is a reason why rest is a thing. God has called us to ask Him for help in everything that we do. God doesn't want you to burn out. The only reason you will burn out is because you're doing it on your own and not with God. The devil wants you to burn out, but God does not. When God calls one to rest, it's for a reason. During that rest time, you are recharging to do that work you were doing 100 times better and faster so that you no longer have to think about it. I always thought resting was just literally doing nothing. Until recently, when I was told resting can be in all kinds of forms. That can include time with God, doing your favorite activity, cleaning, hanging with family and friends, or whatever is not the work that you were doing. If you don't find a balance, you're not going to get very far. As an example of when I talked about abandonment previously, you don't want to get to that point where you see it so normal to consistently work 24/7 to where you leave your child. I don't want your child or future children in that place, and I hope you don't either. We are called children of God because we are the light in the darkness, which is a word that the devil has twisted. We are children of God because He has called us to call on Him to help through the tough times. We aren't meant to go through the battles on our own. Your children and future children aren't meant to go through battles on their own either. Hopefully this makes sense. I'm just speaking as I hear God. Whoever this is for, take that rest. Allow yourself to rest and be free. Don't save yourself away to the job that's not going to get you in heaven. It may pay the bills, but God is Almighty. He is Jireh. He is your provider. So don't even worry, it's going to come to pass. I urge you to rest. It can be for like 30 minutes or however long you feel led to. As soon as you take that step to rest, you'll thank God later. I was one who never liked to rest. And once God has opened up my eyes, I see why it's needed now. Take it seriously, please, and know that it's all going to work out. God has it all planned out. Just have faith and trust in Him. Ever since I let go and let God, I have entered back into my inner child and allowed myself to be a child of God. Be the child the enemy took away from you. Again, we are children of God. Not everything is serious. Allow yourself to have fun the way God has intended. Ask God to restore your inner child. Ask God to show you what fun looks like. Be happy as a kid and never let that go. And I wrote all this last night. I was just asking God what I need to do for my podcast. Do I need to prepare? Do I do it on the spot? Blah, 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 blah. And I think going forward for all my podcasts, I think that's just how it's going to be. It's not going to be an impromptu thing unless I feel led to. It's just going to be a message that I hear God speak to me to give to you. So this message today is about what it's meant to be happy as a kid and what it's meant to emphasize on the word of rest. I hope you take this message to heart. I pray that if this spoke to you, that you take this seriously, because God has put the word rest on my heart very heavily, because he knew that the person I was before who never took a rest, I know what you're going through. And so now that I've taken the time to get to know God and allow myself to rest, it really is beneficial to my day-to-day life. I feel a balance in my life, and I don't know, I just feel at peace. And when you're at peace, you know that it's God working in you. So that's all for today's episode, and I hope you have a blessed day.